I really don't appreciate the censoring because, like, we're nothing without each other. We got to have conversations to be able to build, you know?
Right. The point that I brought up with Clockson is that if you were to just remove me off the table, do we necessarily have enough of the other things to feed the global population?
So you're saying for someone who meditates, it could actually physically help their physical health, like by meditating.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Like if you have.
For me, it's like letting go has probably been the best thing that's ever happened to me, because instead of me looking for the guru, I end up finding the guru in me.
It's going to be a byproduct of helping everyone else. Because when you help yourself, you're able to help other people. We're able to build together.
It's going to feel like, dang, I just got to this new level, and now I got to deal with this, now I got to deal with this, and it's going to keep stacking on constantly. Use that as your pillar of strength to be like, wow, since these challenges are getting stronger, it must mean I'm getting stronger. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there, because the universe only gives you what you're prepared to handle. So even if something feels like it's impossible, it's only impossible in your mind.
And so a lot of the important things that you guys want to realize when building is that no matter how grand the idea is, no matter how many people you have, it has to always start from yourself. Because if you don't get yourself right, you're not going to be able to build with somebody else.
See, that's because everybody know that, you know, the government coming after people when you talk too much.
Yeah. I mean, if nobody talks about it, then I mean, you know, it's gonna stay the same.
You know, Clockson, and I already told you this, but you were the person who inspired me to start writing my book. So I can focus and all of that. But you were the one who showed me in the midst of calamity and confusion and drama and chaos and all that shit, that's where all of your best work, or most of your best work, will come from.
People need dramatic examples to shake them out of apathy, and I can't do that as Bruce Wayne. As a man, I'm flesh and blood. I can be ignored, I can be destroyed, but as a symbol, I can be incorruptible. I can be everlasting. What symbol?
Clocks in.
Clocks in.
What up, Clocks in?
Soul fam, clocks in.
Clocks in.
Clocks in.
Clocks in.
My homie Clocks.
The Clockson sound like he need to come up.
Clockson coming up next.
My clocks in.
Yo, Clockson. Peace to the Universal family. My name is Clockson.
I don't regret this. You know, I used to regret the decisions that I made because I didn't understand where they would put me. But now I'm glad I don't understand. You know, I'm glad that my life is a empty canvas and I get to write whatever I want into that canvas to make it my future, you know?
Welcome to the Clockson Podcast. Peace, and love to the Universal family. Welcome back to the Clockson Podcast. Today I have a very, very special guest with me. All right. He is considered a super producer. Okay. Not just no regular producer, but a super producer, engineer, okay, artist, songwriter, and spiritual advisor. I want to humbly welcome my brothers to the podcast, R. the God.
What's the word, y'all? How y'all feeling, man?
We here. This is probably one of my most anticipated episodes. I've been trying to have you on here since season 1. But, you know, we here. Everything happens for a reason, and it's all in divine timing. So,
Yes, sir.
how you feeling, first and foremost, before we get into the nitty-gritty?
Man, I'm feeling good, bro. I'm feeling good.
That's good. So, just for y'all that don't know, you know, most people on my platform probably already know who you are. For those of you that don't know, this brother here, the list of talents that he has goes on and on and on and on. Just for a basics, right? He's considered a super producer, which is, as you can tell, is past the regular level of a producer. You know, we call our people who make the music producers, but he's on a whole other level. You know, so I'm just gonna go down some of the things you've done, some of the lists of people you've produced for and engineered. So we got Sada Baby, okay, for as far as engineered. We got R-Star JR. And we got produced for Jadakiss and Ralphie the Plug. He's also engineered for Rio, the Young OG. So that's big because I'm a big Jadakiss fan. So it's like, whoa. When I saw it, I'm like, okay. So that's his list. So we just gonna get right into it, brother. We're gonna get right into it. Before we get into the music side, this is going to be more of a personal interview of like you and your individual journey. And we're going to get into your talents and what people know you as and how that journey starts. So could you tell the people who you are from your perspective, and also what's your origin story? Like, where did all this start from before you became R the God? How did it start?
Man, this all started with the music, to be honest. Like, it started off from, you know, I started playing piano like around 7 years old. My mom put me into piano lessons, started playing piano. From that point, like 4th, 5th grade, I started playing trumpet in the band, and I played that all the way up until like 7th grade. And hold on, let me just adjust my mic real quick.
You go.
But yeah, I played trumpet till about 7th, 8th grade. And then I stopped at 14 and I started playing piano again. So I picked that back up. And around 14 was around the time I was in 8th grade. We would be in class just freestyling, rapping over, you know, going like this on the table, just at the lunch table or in the classroom. And I would be the person that was always making the beats. But I'm like, man, today I want to go home and write a rap. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I got back home. I think the first song that I wrote to, or the first instrumental I wrote to, was Snapback by Mac Miller. And I was just writing to it. And when I went back to school the next day, I'm like, yo, y'all got to hear this. Like, I'm talking crazy. I'm talking crazy right now. So I'm just showing people in the hallway, showing my friends. And after that, went to my boy B crib. We had on the headset just like this with a mic wrapped around it. And we just started rapping in that and just freestyling. And then eventually we was recording songs, end up linking with my homeboy James. And then I went over to his house and he was like, yeah, I rap too. You know, I record myself. So I went over there and seen him recording off Mixcraft, and he had a mic set up. And I'm like, hey, if he could do this, I can do this. So after that, I bought my mic. And then from that, I remember that was such a big purchase for me, because it was like, damn, I'm spending $100 on the mic. I don't know I don't know how I'm about to take, you know, how serious I'm about to take it. I'm only 14 at the time. Yeah. So when I bought it, it was like, all right, now we going from here. And then from that point, I started rapping a lot, start engineering my own music. And then eventually I'm like, all right, I want to start producing too. So at 17, I'm producing. Now I'm filming. I done picked up the camera. I'm about to start shooting videos. So at this point, I'm just learning all of these crafts, because I'm like, this is what I want to do. I'm like, I find fun in doing all of these things, whether I'm going to be shooting my own videos or shooting somebody else, editing somebody else's videos or editing mine, engineering my music and engineering somebody else's. I can use this as an asset to build and get to the place that I want to be. And I can make money doing it while getting better at it at the same time. So from that point, it was just locking in and getting the experience whenever I needed it, or whenever I was getting ready to do that specific task. So yeah, that's pretty much how I got into the music. And then from that point, it's crazy, because it was actually around 8th grade I started playing Xbox Live. And that's when I met my boy Marcel. And Marcel, he was the first person to send me this. He sent me 2 videos. He sent me this video called Zeitgeist. He told me to watch this movie called Zeitgeist on Netflix. So I watched Zeitgeist, and it just went down the road of 9/11, all of the pre-Christian gods before Jesus Christ, and started talking about religion and breaking all of this stuff down. And at that time, I was like a very heavy Christian. I was going to church every Sunday, just had got baptized. My album cover was of me getting baptized. Like, I was getting people into the church. Like, it was a lot. Like, I was really heavily in the church. So when I seen that, I'm like, damn, I'm like, this shit make a lot of sense. And from that point, I just, you know, start going deeper and deeper and deeper. Stumbled into Young Pharaoh, started learning some of the stuff that he was into. Me and him, we built for a long time. And I just slowly started locking in the knowledge, and it just took over.
So your story is very complex, your upbringing. It goes into a lot of different places. You went from music to that. Okay. But the foundation is music, and that's still what you do now. Okay. So what about your name? How did you come up with RR the God?
I came up with RR to God, or double R to God, from my initials. Those are my initials.
I got you. Okay, cool.
So at first I was double R to Hitman.
Nah. Okay.
I was locked in double R to Hitman because I'm about to be making hits. But as my consciousness changed, my name changed.
Okay. And was this always your vision of, okay, this one I'm gonna do for real music? Like, this is my overall passion. It ain't just some side hobby. I'm doing this 100% for the rest of my life.
Facts.
When was that point in your life when you got that resolution? Was it 14, 11, or was
it was, I'm not gonna lie, it was like once I wrote that first rap and I just heard it, like I remember, like I can visually see myself looking down at the paper, standing in the hallway next to people, like, yo, listen to this, walking to lunch. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I want to do. Like, I ain't never felt like this, and it just became like an obsession.
Okay, I see. So that goes into the next question. What does music mean to you? And could you break down like the importance of music itself? Because every person I know, every human being I know listens to music, you know, whatever type of type. So how important is that?
Man, music is like breathing for me, to be honest. Like, it's something that I'm always thinking about music. I'm always listening to music. Even when I'm not listening to music, I'm thinking about it. Like, it's like a therapy for me. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm making music, it's not just because I think it's cool. This is something that I've been doing my entire life. You know what I'm saying? Since I was little. So it's watching movies, I'm listening to the songs. When I'm in the car, I'm listening to songs. When I'm in the store, I'm listening to every sound. I'm listening to sounds outside of even music. So it's big to me. But in general, I feel like music is a drug for everybody. You know what I'm saying? You either taking the good kind or you taking the bad kind. And no matter where you go, music is there. And it's like a battery. It's like a fresh pack of batteries. When you get ready to study and you need that inspiration to work, you turn on some music that's going to inspire you. When we're playing the video game, there's music in the video game that drives you. There's music in the car when you're traveling. Like, it fills the space and that empty space in life. You know what I'm saying? It's like the blood that flows through your life. When you at a party, you go, music is literally everywhere. Like, it's necessary. It's something that we feed off of. It's almost like a food.
That's a fact. I'm glad you brought up video games too, because that's how I see it too. Honestly, like, music, in a way, it's like it captures a moment in time. It encapsulates it. You know, I remember growing up, I always wanted to be a video game creator, right? Video game producer and whatnot. And I thought it was because of my upbringing. You know, all the video games I played, and just certain games hit me a certain kind of way. Until I started getting older and realized why those specific type of games made me feel some sort of way, and it was the music. You know, Legend of Zelda, the Kingdom Hearts, those specific games impacted me in my life forever, and they still do to this day. And it was the music. You know, it was those soundtracks. It was like, whoa, Zelda's lullaby. So I 100% understand what you mean when you say that. Like, music is.
And like you said, bro, like, the music just from a video game, you can hear a song that you used to hear from way back in the day, and it just triggers a memory or just triggers a feeling throughout your body. And it's so many songs like that, especially throughout your childhood, I feel like.
That's a super fact. I remember tracks like the back of my head. I can recite the Justice League theme, you know, from the old cartoon, the Avengers theme from the old, like the Spider-Man. I remember that amazing radioactive Spider-Man, that theme. It just strikes a nerve in me, you know. So, and this is also what I want to ask, like, as far as music being spiritual, do you believe that? Because a lot of people say, especially in the religious community and even in the spiritual community, they say music is evil. You know, they
say that music is evil.
Yeah, music. Like, stay away from, especially in the religious community, stay away from music. Music is evil. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't think anything is necessarily inherently good or evil. I think just it's how it's used. You know what I'm saying? A gun can be used to kill and it can be used to protect. You know, so air can be used to breathe or it can be used to suffocate. Like, so water can be used to give life. Water can be used to drown somebody. So I don't think nothing is inherently bad. I think that the current state of music has a lot of dark energy in it, has a lot of negative influences in it. And I think that that's a lot where that comes from, outside of the fact that religion, the Christian religion believes that Lucifer is the angel of music. So, you know, when you look at the frequency standards of music and the 441 hertz, I think it is, or 440 hertz, and it used to be in 432 hertz, there is definitely an attack on music currently, and you don't hear a lot of enlightening music, or a lot of music that's inspiring in a positive way. It's a lot of necromancy, it's a lot of death, it's a lot of killing, it's a lot of negative shit. So I could understand why people say that, but at the same time, music is not only just you know, the way that we think about it in hip hop, but it can just be a frequency. Like, music is just rhythm. We are our own music. So you know, you got certain binaural beats that heals people. You have certain frequencies that heal people. So we're just not using music in the proper way.
Okay, that's real. That's real. Okay, so what about the words then? Because I know me growing up, my pops wouldn't even let me listen to music that had words in it, because in his mind, you know, 99.9% of it was all negative, right? So let's go into that aspect. A lot of the people who follow you, and like a huge percent of your fan base, was introduced to you similar to the way that I was introduced to you, which was your extremely popular series, Words Are Spells. You know, you had it on TikTok, it was blowing up, millions of views everywhere. Like, other people's posts that wasn't even connected to yours was reposting your stuff. Like, and damn near everybody in the world saw just this series that you created, Words Are Spells. And it actually personally taught me a lot, because I was always studying the etymology of certain words, but just not to that level that you was breaking it down in. I remember you was making videos about even the individual letters and what those things contain versus words, and how the words sound similar with different meanings, and that branches off into so many different things. So could you talk about like your mindset going into that and making that series, and really just teaching the people how powerful words are?
Yeah, I just happened to stumble onto somebody talking about it in a video, and they were talking about like good morning and good night, and how we wake, and the summons, and the court, and the banks, and the rivers, and all of that. And I already was interested in words from the music, you know, and writing music,
right,
and learning how to put words together. So I was always trying to find clever ways to break apart words and reference something like the word actually. Like, I would break that word down into act, you, and lay. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are three different words. So how could I extrapolate act out of actually, and, you know, make it make sense? So I was always looking at words in that way. Even when I was real little, I used to look at certain letters and I'd be like, this letter has like a masculine or feminine energy in it, or masculine and feminine energy to it. And come to find out, letters do actually have masculine and feminine energies. So I just felt like, you know, once I logged into my journey and I realized that I wanted to start putting out information and teaching, that to me was the best way to start, was introducing people to the very words that they're using every day, and understanding how it's affecting them. Manifestation is a very popular topic now, and people are understanding how their words are creating their reality. You know what I'm saying? And just understanding how the things that you say, they leave your mouth, they first they come from your brain, they leave your mouth, they go back to your ears, and they go back to your brain again. So the things that you're saying is just like double compounding itself. So going into the words, I felt like that was the perfect start to opening up people's minds.
That's a super fact, y'all. And this, most of y'all may not know, but this brother right here is a integral part of my personal journey, my Clockson journey into becoming who I am. Like, he is a big part of that. Like, y'all don't even know. If y'all even look back at my history and my journey, you'll see a lot of his videos there, you know, because it's like, damn, words really are that powerful. And once I
appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, for real. Once I started changing my vocabulary, I saw my reality slowly start to change. I started saying certain words, and it would attract certain people. Like, oh wow, you know about that? Oh wow, what's that? You know, so This ain't nothing to play with, y'all. It's for real, you know.
And you literally can speak life or death into existence. If you look at a lot of rappers in the industry, especially like ones like Snoop Dogg, they've talked about how things in their song that they've spoke have came into existence. But you gotta also consider, you know, how, like we said, when you say things, they exit from the brain through the mouth, through the ears, and back to the brain again. You know, just imagine you standing in front of millions of people at a crowd, or hundreds of thousands of people at a crowd that are reciting your lyrics that came from your mind, and you're casting this spell onto these people. That's what you're literally doing, is casting spells. Like, other animals don't speak. They have certain sounds that they make, and they do have their own language, but for the most part, animals are communicating on a telepathic level. So these words that we're using, they can easily be used to deceive, you know, especially when you consider the fact that like 90% of your language is body language in the first place. So you can be able to talk around your body language. So, you know,
wait, what? Say that again.
You can talk around your body language, because that's how people get away with lying. Because, I mean, essentially, if you lying, your body is naturally going to show that. You know, it's going to be something, unless you're just a trained professional or something like that. But naturally, your body's going to show it. So people lie all the time out around their body language, and you don't know it because they're so well at speaking or talking that you don't even realize it. But you literally are manifesting things into your reality, everything that you speak. When you put these songs on and you constantly, you know, playing the same song that's talking about death or that's talking about killing, you hearing that over and over, that's becoming ingrained in your subconscious, and that's what you'll start thinking. And that's what people got to realize, is how powerful the subconscious mind is.
That's 100% fact, because like words are our GPS to reality, you know. And it's always the differentiation between the conscious mind and subconscious mind, you know, because we program our subconscious mind 24/7, even if we're not consciously aware. Even when we look at something, we program it into the subconscious mind, and that's usually what we operate off of. You know, it's surprising. It's surprising the amount of things we do aren't really conscious. Maybe like 20% of our day is actually conscious thinking. The rest is all subconscious. You know,
which is crazy, and I feel like speaking is one of the greatest ways to change your reality, because, like they say, closed mouths don't get fed. So just imagine you were in a room and there was an opportunity, and all it took was for you to speak and open your mouth and say something. Like, behind those words that you spoke could have been $1 million deal. Behind those words that you spoke could have been a necessary, meaningful networking relationship. But because you didn't decide to open your mouth and speak life into reality, you were living in the same scenario. So we could even take it as far as saying that words literally open up new dimensions, because it was a dimension where you didn't say anything, and it was a dimension where you did say something, and now you're open to these realities. So it is really about learning how to master that as well, because you can, like I said, you can speak death into reality too.
Right. So how do we reprogram our minds to be in that mindset? You know, like consciously say more positive things, and, you know, reprogram our subconscious mind to be aware of the words we're saying. Is there like some techniques we could do, or how did you do it? Because you weren't always like this, right? How did you?
No. I feel like the way that I did it was just by constantly consuming new information. Like, because that constantly reaffirms new ideas into your brain. Because if you're not learning anything new, or you're not constantly, it's all about conditioning. It's all about consistency and repetition. If you're constantly reading new information and gaining new ideas, your brain is going to constantly develop. Yeah, basically just continuing to consume information, like just consistently consuming information, because you're constantly showing your brain new ideas, and it's helping your brain recondition itself. If you've been for the past 10 years just hearing a bunch of bullshit and learning negative information, that's all your brain is filled with. So the only way to counteract that is by positively setting your brain off in the right direction. So now you're constantly learning this new information. Your brain is rewiring itself. It's creating a new program. it no longer believes in certain ideas anymore because you've had these realization moments. So now it's no more, I think this way because I've had that realization moment and I can't look back from that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So from that point, it's just about constantly looking into new things, studying about the brain, actually learning how yourself works.
And I'm glad you mentioned program too, because like I feel like the best way we can get to a higher point in our lives is to change our perspective of things. You know, I'm really big on like the mind and psychology and how things work. So when you change the perspective of something, it really changes its reality and your reality to it. So like I see a lot in your videos, you always mention and you refer to the mind as a program and you refer to our thoughts as like a computer, you know, certain type of how much RAM you might have and you know the storage and how you have to always have download new information and get rid of the old stuff. So could you talk about positive perspectives we can have on our mind to be able to reprogram it? Because I feel like that's a genius perspective, you know. The computer, the mind is a computer. I feel like that's a genius perspective. So
Ask the question one more time.
Could you talk about that, like positive perspectives we can have on like our mind? Could you talk about that?
So like basically just like some basic frameworks or like thought processes to have. One thing that I would say is just continue to be consistent because consistency is everything. In order for anything to work, you're going to have to continuously do it. So whether it be reading 10 pages of a book a day, you know, staying at it that way, at least you're measuring your success. You can calculate how much you learn in a day. A more recent one that I learned was I was watching this video and the spy was talking about perception and perspective. And he was saying how your perception virtually doesn't mean anything. Like it's really not that useful outside of your personal activities and the way that you feel about yourself. And your perspective is the lens that you're looking through. But your perspective has to do with what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? You can feel like your perception of yourself can be that I'm the strongest man in the world. And that's okay for you to feel like that. But when you put that in perspective, are you really the strongest man in the world? and when you can learn how to operate out of the two, you'll gain more information about reality. And that was the biggest one for me, because how many people are dealing with people and interacting and have relationships with people and they're operating out of perception, meaning that I'm interacting with you based on how I perceive you. And I'm interacting with you based on how I perceive you perceiving me. So as opposed to me interacting with you from the perspective of how do you perceive me? You know what I'm saying? So that changes the dynamic of life when you're dealing with any situation, whether it has to do with relationships, whether it has to do with interactions or businesses, or just even the perspective of your brand. And that to me was like one of the biggest things. And I feel like that's key.
Okay. So, what's your process then? What is your system of how you do things? Like, how do you study? Because you know a lot of stuff. So could you break down your personal process and also your spiritual systems? Like, how do you, what goes on in there?
How do I study? Man, I'm not gonna lie. My methods are very orthodox. I have a weird pattern to myself, like where I can jump from one thing to the next and just go back and just kind of go back and forth. I'm still mastering that process.
Yeah.
But normally when I have like something that I'm locking into, if I'm working on a presentation or something, I normally lock into that. Like, okay, I'm gonna wake up at 8 o'clock. I'm gonna go to the library. I'm gonna be in there for about 5 or 6 hours because it take that long to do research sometimes. Like
Facts.
you have to look up multiple things. Some things you might not know about. You got to go study and learn about this before you can even get back to this paragraph. And it's a lot of cross-referencing information and, you know, figuring out where, you know, is this true? Is this true? Isn't this true? And just really locking in, bro, like multiple books, grabbing books from that area, finding as much information as you can online. And then from that point, it's really about the amount of time that I do it at once. And I say about like 5 to 6 hours. I really have to lock in. It's kind of hard for me to do like just 1 hour of research, 2 hours of research. Cause like, I feel like once you get in about 2 hours, you just getting started. You just breaking the ice.
Yeah. And then when you got that mental timer in your head, it's kind of hard for you to focus. Okay, 2 hours. Okay, 1 hour left.
Right.
You're not really
Exactly.
getting nothing done.
Exactly.
Okay, so you dedicate time into what you do. Okay, I appreciate that. And as far as your content, like you do touch on a lot of spiritual topics and religious topics. So could you give like a brief overview of your perspective on that? Religion itself and just spirituality.
Religion, I think it has pros and cons to it. I think it's like spirituality on training wheels. I think that you can learn a lot from it. I think that you can learn how to be a good person from it. But you can only get so close to God in religion, I feel like, because you don't truly understand who God is. Your perspective of what God is almost distorted. And as far as spirituality, I feel like spirituality is looking within, religion is looking outside of yourself. So for me, the biggest thing that kicked off my spiritual journey was just health, period. Because before you can even go on a spiritual journey or get to that level of enlightenment that you want, you got to love yourself. So how can you love yourself if the things that you put in your body is toxic and dangerous? You know what I'm saying? You have to start working your way to eliminate those things out of your body, because if I want to start thinking better, if I want to start being better, I have to start feeling better. I have to start being better. If I'm putting in dead bodies in my food, if I'm putting dead body in my body, how can I expect to feel alive? You know, so as far as spirituality goes, I feel like health was one of the biggest things for me, as far as just helping my mind process information, being able to consume information, have more energy. And outside of just eating right, I feel like meditation is a big thing. Really diving into your thoughts and understanding who you are. Because like we said before, like only 20% of what you're doing throughout the day is even conscious. So if all day you just, okay, I wake up in the morning, eat breakfast, brush my teeth, put deodorant on, put my clothes on. If all your day is that, when did you really even think about anything? Like, that's not even really a thought. It's almost like a direction. So how much of your day is actually that? So when you take the time to meditate and you close your eyes, and a majority of the information that's being processed by the brain is being processed, is what's coming in through the eyes. So when you close your eyes off and you go into your brain and you have this time for where your thoughts can just rush and you can see and just become the observer of all these thoughts that are going on, now you can kind of understand where your focus is coming from. Now you can start shifting these thoughts and understanding why you start feeling the certain ways that you're feeling, because it's almost like you're just watching a movie of everything that you've thought about through the day or what's bothering you. And then from that point, you kind of take control and you start saying affirmative things like, I am great, I am good, I am living, I love. You know, you could say all of these things and you're channeling that energy throughout your body. And you're reprogramming yourself from there. So just by taking that time to do that, by doing that for me was a big part of me changing my mental process and how I think about things, and just starting to negate out all of the negative thoughts and just training my brain to, when I think about something negative, to not let it upset me or, you know, freak out, and learning to die down that energy.
Yeah, that's facts. Like I always like to tell my people, like introspection is probably one of the biggest things I do day to day. Like why you think what you think and how you think what you think is probably one of the most important things you can do for your mental health. Like I go on walks 10, 15, 20 minutes, sometimes hour walks every single day, y'all. Just to kind of get in the mental, flush out old perspectives, bring in more new positive ones, and just really visualize all the data I've been gathering for the past week and just kind of decipher it, how I'm feeling, how it all correlates to where I want to go and where I am at the present moment. I ask them, that's very important, y'all. And most people don't even do that. Most people don't sit with themselves, look in the mirror and be like, okay, what's going on? You know? So that's 100% real. Okay. So now I want to get into what you've been putting into the world, you know, your energy and your projects and what you've been putting into the world. So I want to go down some of your music discography. Okay. I want to talk about your mindset going into your last 3 albums, you know. So like for me personally, I feel like I stumbled upon you around Evolve, that album, and then I saw your progression through Breathing Level and then Rain God 2. So could you talk about from there, what was your mindset then from Evolve going into all the way up to Rain God 2 and the transitions? Like where was you at personally? What was the concepts for them?
So when I started Evolve was exactly the title. That was me evolving into something different. And I really wanted to show like when I work on music, I work in projects. So, you know, I have little spurts in between my project while I'm coming up with what it's going to be. And I'm just making singles. But then when I come up with my project, it's like, okay, this is what I'm working on. So when I came up with the idea for Evolve, it was like I wanted to show the evolution of myself. I wanted to show all of the different ways that I rap, the ways that I can deliver myself, the different types of beats that I was going on. So that was the basis for Evolve. I just wanted to kind of show people a little bit of everything. So me being Double R, I do things in twos. So I wanted to after I made Evolve, I wanted to make a better version of it. So that was Breathing Level. And the reason that I named it Breathing Level is because I felt like, and I still do, like I do this at a level of breathing. So that was the concept behind Breathing Level. And if you look at the album covers, they're kind of the same color and kind of have the same aesthetic to it. So Breathing Level to me was the better version of Evolve, even though Evolve was still has some crazy songs on it.
Right. Yeah, because Evolve is on the ground level and Breathing Level is too, but the camera is kind of tilted up. You see the clouds. Yeah. Okay.
And then Rain God 2 was the sequel of Rain God 1. And Rain God 1 was it wasn't a sequel like in the same way that Evolve and Breathing Level was. Like I wasn't trying to replicate Evolve. Rain God, it's just like my alter ego of my music. It's the more root chakra side. It's the more material side or the darker side. So Rain God 2 was really I wanted to make a Detroit tape. I wanted to make a tape and surrounding Detroit, Michigan, because that is the area that I'm making a lot of music out of. So I wanted to give something back to the city. I felt like I can do it, so why not do it? And this style goes perfectly with it. But I wanted to do it in a way that it wasn't just, you know, kill, shoot them up. And it's more so like me experimenting with trying to take a street sound and make it bossy. You know what I'm saying? To where it's not murder, kill, and all of this. I wanted to make it fun. I wanted to implement hooks in it because not a lot of Detroit music has hooks, especially that type of music. So I felt like catchy hooks in that area was just perfect. And being in this area performing, you have to have those type of songs to cater to the audience that's here. You know, you wouldn't go to Jamaica blasting Detroit type music. You know what I'm saying? You would want to make music that caters to that audience in the same way that if you came to Detroit, it's cool if you play Jamaican music, but you also have to consider who your audience is. So that was more of a, I don't want to say marketable album, because that's one of my favorite albums on the engineering aspect and the production level. Like that album was more so a production and engineering level thing for me, but I love that album.
As far as on the producer side, you produce all your albums, or do you collaborate with other producers? How do you do your production side for your work?
I do both. Some songs I produce myself. Other songs I have other people produce for me. When I'm in the mode of making music, typically when I'm writing, it's about like what I want right then in that moment. So I could have music that I could have beats, hundreds of beats, but if that's not what I want to rap to right then and there, then I need to find something else. And it's like it's so many songs that I would have never made. We wouldn't have got Evolve if I didn't have other producers. We wouldn't have got Breathing Level if I didn't have other producers. So it's like it's certain beats that I needed from other producers because I didn't even realize that was my sound at the time. It took me to hear some of these beats and some of these sounds to draw out the certain energy and to be able to even make the type of beats that I want for myself. So sometimes I can get into my producer engineer or my producer rapping bag at the same time, which is what I have been doing lately. I feel like I owe that to myself after this last Rain God project. That was the last project that I said that I was going to buy beats for. The next couple of tapes that I make for sure are going to be my production. And if it's not just my production, it's going to be only in-house producers.
Gotcha. Okay.
But my next album is going to be all my production.
Whoa! Hey,
album's going to be all my production.
Y'all heard it here first.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so any advice you could give though to upcoming artists who are trying to get their thing going, based on your last 3 albums, all the experiences you've learned from making those albums? Like, what's some gems you could give upcoming artists who don't got no projects out, but they trying to accomplish what you've accomplished in the music industry? You know,
I would say just be consistent, show up, and just go for it, bro. Like, just drop. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, because I feel like we are our biggest critics, bro. I feel like we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and especially like I'm the type of person, like with my albums, all the albums that I've made, you get to a certain point with your album, right when you get ready to want to drop it, and then it's like you start doubting yourself. You start thinking all of these things like, yo, is it ready? Is this it? And it's like you drop it and that shit is fire. So I feel like just figuring out, you know, what works for yourself, how you gonna market yourself, and just figuring out what you can do. Like, you don't have to do what everybody else is doing. You don't have to have a $50,000 music video budget, but you need to do something that you can do consistently. I don't care if it costs $10 every day or if it costs $5 every day, as long as you can do it consistently, whether it be taking a picture every day. That is what people are looking for, is that consistency.
So consistency. Okay, I see. Okay. Well, I hope y'all taking them nuggets, because he did it. He didn't drop album after album after album, singles, collaboration. Like, he is doing it. So y'all better take. I'm taking gems to him, right? Something.
Oh, another one too is just locking in with people, bro, and building relationships and learning how to utilize your talents outside of you know, the money that you can bring, because your skill set can get you in a lot of places that money can't. You know what I'm saying? So just knowing how to utilize your abilities has definitely been one of my greatest advantages, for sure. Like, you definitely need to network with people. You need to speak to people, take the time to show up to other people's events. Like, those are favors. That's currency in a way. You know what I'm saying? So understand that.
Yeah, no, that's real. Okay. I think we covered most of the music stuff. I kind of want to get into your, like you said, the collaborative aspect of you know, your community side, how you always with certain people and you you really involve yourself into the community, even on the internet. You know, you make sure you support certain people, and you really an activism type energy. You know, could you talk about that, your journey with that, and when it comes to Detroit and just all over the internet? You know, because I've seen you collaborate with a lot of people that I really respect. You know, so could you talk about that energy?
Man, facts. I'm always looking to, you know, build with other people, especially my people. Like, I feel like that's an obligation that all of our people should have, and that we owe each other is to build and want to grow with one another. So anywhere I go, I'm making the effort, and I'm going out of my way to get to know people and to drop game and drop knowledge. And hey, did you know about this? You know, spread the information, because that's all we really got for real. So I feel like everywhere you go, especially in your own community, why don't you know the people in your community? Why don't you know the name of the person up the street at the gas station, or the person that's working at your stove? Why don't y'all have conversations? Why aren't you getting to know your next door neighbors? You know, it's a lot of people, they live next door to their neighbors and they've never met them before. You know what I'm saying? And there's people that live right next door to you. And man, it could be somebody living behind you, fucking sacrificing people, and you would never know. You know what I'm saying? So, like, get to know the people around you, get to know your community, and, you know, step outside your box. You don't know what can transpire out of that. You know, you don't know what this person has in their brain that you have in your brain that y'all can put together to come create together.
No, that's a fact. I agree 100%. Okay. So what are your thoughts then on the conscious community? Because you make sure you try to push that positive content and positive energy perspective to change the current narrative of it. But I want to know your current thoughts on the community and what you want to see kind of changed. You know, whether it's Detroit or just the conscious community in general.
It's so crazy when we talk about the progress of the conscious community, because I feel like it's so many different levels of it.
Yeah.
Like, especially when we talk about the rate at which people have consumed information, we still have people that don't know about coronavirus for real. We still have people that don't know that voting doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? We have the people who really know what's going on. You have the people who just figuring out, and then you got the people that's past it. You know what I'm saying? So when I look at it, I feel like people are in a state of confusion right now. Like even though we're in the age of information, I still feel like people are confused, because there's, at this point, the enemy has caught on to the fact that we're pushing out so much information. And if you take a little bit of truth and you mix it with a little bit of lie, it's really hard to tell the difference. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to tell it when it's just all lies, but when you mix it and blend it together well, it's really hard to tell. So I feel like at this point, a lot of people are they're sticking to the people that they trust, as opposed to even trying to decipher the information for themselves. And that has always been the issue in the conscious community, is people not looking and trying to do the work themselves, and people trying to put the information out first instead of putting it out the best. So I feel like people just really need to start looking into things themselves. And that's like my major thing. That's why I haven't dropped as much content, because I don't just want to post about the things that everybody knows about. I want to put stuff out that people don't know about, and I want to put it out in the right way. That's why I take time to study the information I'm studying, because people can take something and just run with it, and now, you know, they doing their own thing. They might be spreading lies, making the situation even worse. I'm just making sure that the information and the quality of research that I'm bringing y'all is the best. And I'm going to give people the references of where I got my information, where I got my knowledge and all of that.
That's real. Okay. So would you say it's jaded right now? It's kind of everywhere in a way?
I would say that. I feel like that. I feel like it's a strong attack. I feel like there's been so many eras of the conscious community already. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
From the TikTok era to from before it was even TikTok, it was the YouTube era. It was just like, damn, we just find out all this information from YouTube and shit like that. Now it's on TikTok, and now it's a marketable thing. Now it's a niche. You know what I'm saying? So
it's cool to be spiritual. That's a fact. It's cool and trendy to be spiritual now.
Exactly.
That's facts. Okay, well, we about to wrap this interview up. Just got a few more questions for you, though, brother. This is a new little thing I do on my podcast called the Rapid Fire Quick Questions.
Okay.
So I'm gonna just shoot some quick ones at you. You gotta answer them first thing that comes to your head. All right.
Bet.
Okay, cool. So, you watch anime, right?
Yes.
What's your favorite anime?
Death Note.
Okay. Who's your favorite artist?
Who was my favorite artist?
Yep.
Yay.
Okay. What's your astrological sign?
Sagittarius.
Bet. Okay. What was your first impression of me, Clockson, when you first met me? What was like? Oh.
I fucks with bro. I fucks with bro.
Okay. Yeah, that concludes the fire questions. Go into that though, like when you saw me, it's like, okay, Clockson, because I know I have my content up and whatnot. I try to spread my own personal message. So I love to see other people's perspectives on me too, especially the people I interview and whatnot.
Man, I feel like you just got a great energy, bro. Like, I feel like you have an energy that people around you and just in the world in general need to have. Like you a person that know how to ground people, and you carry out like just the optimistic energy, bro. I feel like a lot of people need to have that around, and I feel like you have a lot of it. And I fuck with you off that note. Like, you a person that's constantly on the go. Your energy is just up, bro. And that's what I fuck with. You always on a positive note.
Nah, I appreciate that, man. I say personally, like, no matter what I'm going through in my journey, whether I'm going here and there and that, as long as I stay on the righteous path, I'm doing the right thing, you know? Just stay righteous, you know what I'm saying? Keep uplifting and helping people. That's really my only real purpose. Everything else is just extra stacking on. So I really do appreciate that, because that's what I go for. I try my best to just be that light, you know? This pretty much concludes the interview. Our last final question is what I ask every person on my podcast. Throughout the entire experience of your life, everything you've been through from day one till now, if you could say one thing, one message to the people, or even if it's just one person who's watching this and they just love everything you would say on this podcast, what would you tell that one person?
Man, words of Nipsey. You're either going to be at peace with yourself and at war with the world, or you're either going to be at war with yourself and at peace with the world.
Powerful. All right, brother. Well, could you tell the people what you got going on next and how they can follow you and support everything you got going on?
Y'all can follow me at Double R to God. That's 2 R's, RRTHEGOD. You can follow my backup page on Instagram. That's Rain God with 2 R's. And you can find me on my website at legacythewave.net. That's LEGAS is spelled exactly how it is on the stream. LEGASEATHEWAV.net. And there I have a subscription-based content. It's exclusive content. That's where I have my presentations. I have a presentation on the memory of water. I break down structured water. I have a presentation on melanin. I have 2 presentations on words are spells. I have another one on there too. I can't think of it off the top of my head. And I have some other exclusive movie breakdowns. I have other books that I break down, and there's a lot of content on there you guys should go check out. I also have a new ebook that I just released. It's called the Maui Fire and the Dark History Behind Hawaii. And I talk about the Maui Fire that just happened recently. And I break that down and talk about all the things that they're getting ready to do to the island. And I also give a in-depth history on the history of Hawaii and how Hawaii even became a part of the United States, and the descendants and the people that are there, and how a lot of the things that they're doing over there now is similar to what was going on and what led up to the situation. So I will be having ebooks there. Also, it's subscription based, so I will be doing packages like you'll be able to get discounts on the ebooks depending on the tier that you are on the website. So make sure y'all go check that out. If you're interested in it, make sure you shoot me a message on Instagram. And then finally on YouTube it's Double R to God, 2 R's, THEGOD, and then TikTok it's Rain God 2 with 2 R's.
Make sure y'all go follow him. What you got coming next in the future, man? How's the future look like for R to God?
The future is looking like a lot more longer form content. I won't be posting too much short form content like how I was before. As much as I will, but a lot of my short form content will be longer form content. I feel like we need to get away from these 30 seconds to 1 minute videos. I don't feel like it's doing anything for our minds. I feel like people want more. So my content is going to be based on going in depth, really teaching y'all the history, understanding spirituality. I'm going to be writing books, a lot more ebooks, a lot more books, and just in packages. And I really want to engage with the audience and the community. So I'm really focused on just building and creating a platform to where, we can have live chats like this all together. We can come together and talk about things. We can have a group where people can bring information together and do those type of things. So that's my goal right now, is just really locking on long form content. So make sure y'all definitely go check out my website.
All right, y'all. Y'all heard it here first. This concludes the legendary interview with R the God. Make sure y'all follow the podcast on YouTube and Spotify. And yeah, thank y'all for tuning in.
Yes,
Peace and
sir.
love.